My name is Sarah. I'm 42 years old and a mom of 3 kids between the ages of 6 and 11 years old. We knew something wasn't quite right in January 2021 when I started vomiting on an almost daily basis with fevers and a persistent pain on my right side. I thought I might have a problem with my gallbladder, so my primary care doctor ordered an ultrasound, and that's how we discovered that I had tumors all over my liver. And by the end of March, we learned that I had stage 4 colon cancer with liver metastases. With my diagnosis, my life changed instantly. I went from worrying about what to make for dinner and kids' school assignments to wondering how much time I had left on earth with my husband and children. I remember asking my oncologist about the best and worst case scenarios for me very early on, and he said, "You have either months or years left." So I started planning funeral arrangements and writing letters to my kids.
So after a few months, Sarah was responding pretty well to chemotherapy, but we were still told that there was no curative option, that she'd never qualified for surgery, and that she should really just prepare for a gradual decline in her health and eventually death. But Sarah being Sarah, a little voice in her head told her to keep going and to not accept that she would never qualify for surgery. So she started doing her own research, looking at a Facebook community powered by colon cancer patients and caregivers called Colon Town. Reading through the postings, she read stories about people like her who had been told that there was really no hope, and yet were somehow able to get on a different track by getting second opinions with oncologists and cutting-edge surgeons who were ready to try newer and more aggressive approaches.
When I first heard that a few surgeons in the US were starting to do liver transplants on colon cancer patients, I got very excited. 10 years ago, my father had a liver transplant that saved his life, and it was not much of a stretch for me to believe that a liver transplant could potentially save my life too. But I knew that they have very stringent requirements for colon cancer patients being considered for liver transplant, and only a very select few patients actually wind up getting liver transplants. But after 6 months of chemotherapy, I went in to talk to my doctor about my latest scan. And I said, "You might think this is a little nuts, but I would really like to see if I might be a candidate for a liver transplant." And to my surprise, she said, "I don't think that's crazy at all. In fact, our tumor board is going to be meeting tomorrow, and we're presenting your case to see if you might be a candidate for liver transplant." And in that moment, my jaw just dropped. I just couldn't believe it was really happening. And the very next day, I heard back that the board had determined I could be considered for, a candidate for liver transplant. And since that moment, my entire outlook on my future has changed. I still have 3 big hurdles to overcome. I have to show no evidence of disease anywhere outside of my liver. My tumors can't show signs of growth for 12 full months since my diagnosis, and I need to find a liver donor. Pursuing this path is a big leap of faith for me. I have to place trust in my body, I have to place trust in my care team, and I have to place trust in my community.
Johns Hopkins has a stellar program for living donor transplants, and we've been really impressed with the members of the transplant team who've taken a lot of time and thought to thoroughly answer all our questions and concerns. We've also been fortunate to receive an overwhelming amount of support from family and from friends since Sarah was diagnosed 9 months ago. I remember when we talked to the transplant surgeon recently, he mentioned that a few people had already filled out living donor profiles on Sarah's behalf. And he remarked at the time that Sarah must be a very special person to have all of that support. It's really true. Sarah's always been the type of person who thinks of others first, and I know that She wouldn't hesitate for a minute if the situation were reversed and she had the opportunity to save someone else's life.
That support keeps me going when doubts and fears start to creep in. And just as many individuals have appeared in my life to help me since this cancer journey began, I really do believe that there's one special person out there who will become my liver donor and selflessly give me the chance to spend many more years with my family. Thank you for sharing my story.